Hello everyone, welcome back, welcome to the channel if you haven't been here before. I'm Danielle from Cageless Readings, and today's pick a card. We're going to be looking at what is your romantic interest perspective on the relationship. And my motivation, or my inspiration you could say, behind this pick a card reading came from two places actually. One being that I've seen a theme on narcissistic relationships and realizing the pattern of narcissistic relationships. So I kind of had a feeling or an impression that maybe one of these piles will be talking about that or addressing that. And then the other one is actually a personal thing that happened where my boyfriend, or my partner, as I refer to him often on this channel, had met a female in this industry. And sorry, I'm kind of laughing because, well, I guess because it's sort of awkward, really. But he had met a female in this industry, and there was a bit of confusion around relationship where she was very much aware of him and I. She met us at the same time. Yeah, but she sort of came up with this whole story or perspective in her eyes about them being twin flames. I think she actually might have been part of the Twin Flame University Academy or whatever that's called. They just made a documentary on, interesting enough. But she was someone who was actually quite susceptible and very ungrounded to more extreme perspectives. So, I mean, everyone has their right to live in their world and in their life, but it was just so fascinating to see her perspective of what was going on and what she thought was going down, and that she thought that that he was gonna leave me and find his way to her, and they were gonna have a child. And some interesting theories happened from there on what she thought that child would become. So anyways, that's not really the goal of what I'm trying to say. Is it really made me realize how many times, especially in my serving industry past, that I would hear stories from friends or just colleagues that they were dating this guy and they were getting mixed signals, but they knew they were really compatible is the word I'm looking for. And then often, it didn't go anywhere. Like, it turns out the guy really wasn't that interested, had like a crush on another girl, and was just kind of waiting for that girl to come around, or such and so. Or even in some cases, like, they were they went into a relationship that was an open relationship, and there is like some sort of expectation that maybe they'd become the only person. So I've kind of seen all that happen, and I really wanted to make this pick a card reading kind of cater to people who might be in that place in their life. Not saying that you're going to be like someone who's a little ungrounded and thinking that you are going to make someone leave their other relationship because you're their destined twin flame. And sorry if you do. I'm just laughing because I'm not trying to say you're this person that I just experienced, but I just wanted to do a card reading so you all can see the other person's perspective. So just to clarify, the only cards that have anything really to do directly with you for this pick a card reading are these top cards, which I pulled to see your perception of this person. And then I also pulled a card for a healing mantra for any karma in the relationship or the karmic block in the relationship. So those were the only cards actually with your energy in it. All the other cards here, I pulled some animal cards for the energy they're in right now. We'll start off by looking at that for each pile. And then I pulled archetype cards for their intention towards you and their feelings towards you. So we're going to kind of get 2 answers from those cards. You also pulled some karma cards just to see what karmic blocks are coming up in the relationship. And therefore, that is why I pulled a healing mantra card for you all, just to give you a healing affirmation for that karmic block. And that one was more intended towards you. Okay, so that all being said, I feel strongly that this is a card reading, just with some of the energies I see come through, that we should clear the energy of everyone, of everyone in the situation around here. And I always like to set the intention that this will also ground you a little bit. So that all being said, we're going to do that, and then I'll show you which cards, because each card has 2 for how you see them for each pile, and I'll also tell you which animal card deck I picked in case you want to choose that way as well. So here we go. I'm just going to go for it. Okay, and I actually feel like I'm gonna just do it one more time, because I feel like there's just a little bit of ickiness or stuckness, for lack of a better word, that I just want to make sure I clear out of the space and the energy around this card reading. All right, so pile 1, your option here is overflowing wealth and dancing in light. So that was 2 cards I pulled for how you perceive them. And the card deck underneath that I used for the animal card deck for you was, actually, let me double check the name, Spirit of the Animals Oracle cards. Pile 2, you got Wayward Paths and Restoration for how you perceive them. And the animal card deck you chose is the Spirit Animal Oracle. It's very similar to the last one, except for there's one word that's different. Oh, sorry. Pile 3, how you perceive them, we have Divine Feminine, North, South, East, and West. Okay, and the name was Animal Spirit Oracle Cards. All right, so I'll give you a few more seconds here if you're just needing a little more time, and then we'll get into your pick a card readings. Hello, pile one. So you were the one who chose the Overflowing Wealth and Dancing in Light cards. So I'm gonna put those there, and for now, I'm just gonna look at the animal cards and how they are versus how you're perceiving them. I don't know if I'll do quite versus, but just we'll see what information I get. So you got dragon. Supernatural, you are the ancient wise sage. You can shapeshift at will. Mastery is your destiny. Rise with dignity. Polar bear, mystic. Know that challenges make you stronger. Have faith when you have adversity. Take time to rest, dream, and renew your strength. Embrace your psychic abilities. You carry the shaman within. Very interesting cards. And then we have Black Jaguar, Old Soul. Walk through life with confidence and grace. You have power from beyond this world. Focus on what you really want. You can create your dreams. Okay, really interesting. So yeah, my intention, I had just said literally, hang on, I wrote it down. It says, what energy are they in right now? And so that is kind of interesting. What I'm getting off of this is like, I see that they're on a transformative growth path. And obviously, as it was saying here, mystic, supernatural, old soul, there's so much going on here about whoever this love interest you have is very into the spiritual realm of some sort. And it might look like they're just really into meditation, self-discovery, connecting with the energy of the universe, living in flow with the universe. But because it literally emphasizes on psychic ability, it does make me wonder if they are working more closely in the realm that say I am. I don't do psychic stuff though. I just do intuitive readings. The difference, I don't know why I feel like explaining this to this pile. The difference is that when I see someone, I look at all the energy going on in their energy field. There's Steve. Hi, honey bunny. You're a honey kitty though. You're not a honey bunny. Yeah, I look at all the energy. So basically what I really focus on is programs and stories. So I look at what story, Steve, no eating the plants. I focus on the stories and the programs that are existing in their energy field because everyone has different stories and programs sort of existing. And I truly believe that because we can create our own realities, if we remove those programs or those codes from ourselves, then we no longer will have that going on for us. But I also understand the challenges behind that. It's not as simple as that. So that's what I work with. Where psychics, I find, work more with strongest possible future. There we go. Strongest possible future. But I believe more in anyone can shape their future. So I feel like I take one step before even going into that, and then I can often see the momentum of the energy, what will end if it continues at that rate, and then I'll also see what is possible if they change that energy into something different. And I'm not going to be the one to tell someone what they are or aren't going to do. So anyways, that's what I find is different between psychic and more intuitive readers from my perspective. So anyways, the old soul, this is really fascinating. I can't stop looking at the fact that these are black and white and it's really balanced yin and yang. This person's energy overall feels, you know what, I actually should just like, it's sort of totally side note, but each pile at the back of the deck, there was a swan card for each card deck. It was super crazy. And the other two piles, the swan energy felt very like it was for them to transform through this relationship and leave it. And you're the only pile where just even pulling cards, I got the energy of And I mean, we'll see what the other cards are, so we're gonna find out together. But I got the energy of just going with the flow. And like the Swan card for you was about allowing an abundance when the time was right for it. What does that mean? I kind of just got the energy of like enjoying this relationship while it resonates with you. And the moment it doesn't, just releasing it and being okay with that. It felt pretty light and it felt very just experiential based. So I almost got the impression this could be a long time relationship, could be short term, but they both are going to have more of a positive lesson to it. And I don't know. I think that's just what I'm going to say there until we look at more cards. But so even when I'm seeing this, I'm seeing that this person feels very accountable. That's the energy they're in, is trying to be accountable, connecting to their higher self a lot, and looking at their shadow side. And I am like, this makes me think of warrior, like a light warrior. And so it might just be that they're very passionate about being of service in some way. It's funny, I'm trying to put my finger on it. I'm like, does it look like volunteer work? It might, or it might even look like they're trying to start a business. Maybe it'd be like a Reiki practice or a psychic thing, mediumship, something like that. It feels pretty spiritual based, but it feels like they're really, really like wanting to, like their energy saying like fight for the light. Yeah. And anytime I see the dragon cards come out, I see like old soul wisdom. And then it's funny, you also got old soul there. So energy they're in right now, it feels like they're really in a passionate time, really in a self-accountable time. And they really want to, I feel like they're almost past like the growing in the spiritual realm and they're wanting to help others do that. So how you perceive them, because these cards are pretty important. Dancing in the light, overflowing wealth. So it's so interesting because when I saw this card, I was so drawn to the snake eating the moon. And like the girl's hanging on to the snake and the snake is going for the moon. And I don't know, I couldn't quite tell what that meant. I was like, they're eating their shadow side? I don't know. So interesting. I don't know. I'm still trying to see what that means, but it feels very important. And I just, even with these colors here going on with the black and the white, I just feel like there's something there. Overflowing wealth. So this card makes me think of transforming and dancing in the light. I feel like it kind of goes with this, but the overflowing wealth, and then I see like all these like little light beams coming down and all these seeds being planted and all these new things coming. So I wonder if you see them as someone who's building a lot of, I don't know, I want to say they have a lot of different eggs in a basket. Is that the expression? So bad with English expression, sorry. I think it's that. They have a lot of eggs in different baskets. And I feel like you're seeing how they're transforming. There's definitely a thing around transformation. You perceive them as transforming in some way. You know what, actually, if I look at this, if I see this little star which says like a sun, the snake's going after the moon. So I just wonder if you see them as someone who's not afraid to go after the shadow side, going after their shame, going after the things that people don't really want to see, and not fearing it, going at it to transform it or to transform how they view it. Yeah, very, very interesting. I also feel like this card looks like a person's a mystic, very mystic energy. So I wonder if you just see them as a very spiritual person, a very accomplished in their own self, and then starting to get accomplished in the outside world. But you know what? I have a suspicion that this person you're inquiring about might already be financially well off and they're just starting a whole new venture in the spiritual realm. And I don't know, I could almost see them being like, I hear like the classic job would be like an oil worker and an engineer for an oil field or something like that, because we're Alberta and that's just what's normal. But I get kind of like that vibe, like they work a mainstream job, a common mainstream job and did very well, and then now they're like in their expansion time where they're just going for the more spiritual path. So, okay, let's look at what do I want to go for? Do I want to go for archetypes? Archetypes or karmic blocks in this? Okay, I'll do karmic blocks in this relationship. I think so. Okay, so karmic blocks. We have things brought to life or light. That's so funny because clearly that's been a theme so far. Your resources, what you value, benefit resulting from the power of, the secrets of resulting from the power of. Okay, interesting. One is the time to... Okay, sorry. I was just like tuning in to this. Sun, this is really, really interesting because it's the opposite energy of what we've been looking at. Okay. So it is interesting. Some of these piles do have a little more of a dominant energy for the person you're inquiring about. This one does feel more masculine, which is really interesting. And don't hold weight to that. Like I said, these are general card readings, so I just usually go off of like a dominant energy. And it is interesting because I feel like the karmic blocks here is, although this person is really working on accountability, self-growth, spiritual path, kind of changing their shadow side, being more accountable, I do see that there is a little bit of a past energy. So the karmic block, I almost see like the sun. I see someone who can, and also over here with this Scorpio card, I feel like there's someone who can be almost too focused on being a leader and taking control, that I wonder if in this relationship dynamic, if you as the inquirer, I wonder if you're a little more softer energy in comparison to them. So I don't know if other people would say that about you, but I just feel like, I lack of better words, you can be a little more, I don't want to quite say submissive, that doesn't quite feel right, but it's just like you're a little more quiet than they are. And I almost can see the karmic block is almost like learning to speak up what you need from them in your relationship, because actually now I see it, they're very like purpose driven and focused, and it's not a bad thing. What they're focused on isn't a bad thing, but there's a need to communicate your needs in the relationship. And it's interesting. So I feel like the block is, I think this is coming from your side, is that there can be some like worry, almost like a bit of an anxious attachment sometimes in this relationship. And I feel like karmic lessons are all about what to learn through this relationship. So I almost feel like it's like learning to share what you need in an honest, empowering way with your romantic relationship. So I almost feel like it would look like, versus like feeling guilty about it, or like eventually getting a little bit like bitter or frustrated, learning to just clearly say what you would like from the relationship and not putting any blame on anyone. Because I feel like with these two cards coming through, it's like they're almost blind to it. They just go into this like leadership, I'm gonna do this role, and then kind of like forget about the relationship, other person's needs. Because I also think that they might be pretty busy, so they might not even notice that your needs aren't being met over there. But it's so interesting. I also feel like on the flip side, there's a lot of lessons here on learning the way of abundance, a flow of abundance, because I do feel like this person's pretty successful. Like I said, whether it's in their more mainstream job or the spiritual job they're getting into or work they're trying to do, you feel like they're just a very successful person. And I feel like there is like a healing there for you as an inquirer around finances. I don't know totally what your block is. Like I said, I wasn't totally going to focus on your energy. I was more focusing on their energy. So interesting. So I did pull a couple cards on healing mantra for that type of energy. So, and also the other thing you can't see is like, look at that. There's a pot of gold. You got a lot of abundance stuff around this person. So that's really interesting. I think they're just very successful. Maybe they have great friends. Maybe they've really worked on having healthier relationships, cutting out people who weren't supportive. I just feel like there's a lot of life experience that they could share with you. But it's interesting. Every time I try to like tune in a little bit to the inquirers, like so your guys's energy, I don't get a lot of answers. So I think it might just mean that you guys are all over the place. Some of you have learned some of this and you're really valuing this in another person, and some of you are just kind of like, oh, that's not like nice for people to treat you that way, and you're really going to learn a lot as well because yeah, you haven't seen someone play out healthy boundaries or something like that. So anyways, or even be like healthy with money and maybe generous with money. Okay, and not be of a scarcity mindset. That's also a big thing here. So awakening inspired action and embracing worthiness. That's the healing mantra for the karmic blocks that are coming through. There is only what life is asking of me, and I feel worthiness filling every cell of my body, and it feels amazing. So this is interesting. I think this one's really important for this pile because this kind of goes with knowing that you are worthy to get your needs met, to voice your needs in a relationship, and to ask for someone to like commit to like maybe a once a day no distractions date or something like that. I do feel like this pile is in like a straight on full on relationship with this pile. Yeah, is it new? I think it's a little past the new stage. But yeah, it's just like really talking about like knowing, not feeling guilty or shameful for maybe taking some of their time away from one thing and asking for what you need. And then this other card here, there is only what life is asking of me. Whew. I still feel like there's some like guilt or shame coming up with this card as well. There's only what life is asking me. I feel like it could be coming from maybe if you're not feeling inspired to say no sometimes to some requests from this person. Because like I said, I feel like they can maybe be too controlling or too bossy sometimes. A little too passionate, maybe they would say, in the moment. And there's definitely a call that you can say no, and it's part of the karmic lesson. Is even teaching this person to maybe be more aware of how other people are feeling or being impacted by their energy. And last but not least, the cards I think a lot of you were waiting for is the archetype cards for their intention towards you and their feelings towards you. So, okay. So, Destroyer, we have releasing what is potentially destructive, preparing for a new life. That's actually really awesome and pretty on theme with the energy they're in of literally trying to be accountable for their shadow sides, for their qualities that aren't as beautiful or as easy to deal with as others. It's child divine. We have innocence, purity, and redemption suggests a special connection with the divine. That's just a theme here. You guys aren't seeing that special connection with the divine. This person is super, super connected to some sort of spiritual practice. Maybe they're even like a god person. I don't know. I actually just thought that when I saw this card. Imposing your own tyranny over those you claim to liberate, ignoring legitimate constraints. So yeah, we still have an issue here with them maybe being a little controlly. It's funny that that came up twice. There's literally control in the situation. If maybe they are Scorpio, I should just say that. This card says in Scorpio, and I wonder if they are Scorpio-ish. Yeah, I could see that for this pile. And I actually wonder if their Scorpio would be in their their moon sign, not their sun sign. Is that the right one? Yeah. Is it their rising sign? No, I can't remember the language, but I feel like the moon sign is like how they're feeling on the inside. And I think the sun sign for them would be something maybe a little more gentler that people wouldn't notice, but the moon, I think, would be kind of like how they really are. Or they could be double Scorpio. Ooh, that would be interesting. I definitely think there'd be some troubles with them releasing control of situations. Okay. Yeah, sorry, got stuck on that one. So this one says expressing a dimension of life that is just beyond the five senses, inspiring others to see life symbolically. So I think I can definitely see why the flow and just go with it until it doesn't feel right card came up for you for this pile. And it really, like, the energy around it I keep getting is like, don't overthink it. Don't worry. Don't put pressure on yourself that this relationship is gonna like have to last forever, that you're gonna be married to them, that you're gonna just, yeah, I really just get the energy of just checking in. Like, there's such an energy of just checking in and asking yourself, so your heart, asking your body, how do I feel about this relationship today? I still feel good. If I don't feel good, what need is not being met? And kind of asking yourself what you can do about it. So I think some things are going to come from yourself. And then there's definitely a lesson here for you learning to ask this person for more of what you're wanting. So the destroyer, it's saying like their intention towards you is that they want to like work on these previously destructive habits they've had in relationships. They are working on it though. So it says that there still is some issue. And when I see the issue, it's still that controlling thing. I'm just like, I wonder if one of their parents was super submissive. Super submissive. And that's almost like the perception of how they thought that person would be. So maybe it was the dad. And then if you were like, if you're, if you're looking for a female and this person's a female, then I feel like their perception of you is that you should be more submissive to them, or vice versa. If their mom was very submissive, then I feel like they believe that their female partner should be very submissive. There isn't really gender attached to that one. It's just like, I almost feel like whatever they saw, they now believe is how everyone should act, and they've found people who are a little more codependent and maybe a little more on the like wanting to be a peacekeeper energy. So yeah, very, very growth based, but it doesn't feel necessarily like there isn't some good that can come from this. But there will be, I think, a strong challenge, as you probably know because you're dealing with this, is not feeling controlled or told or bossed around. That's like the word I want to use. Not feeling bossed around. That is a huge block for this person that they're trying to work through. But it's like almost like I get like they need to change their paradigm. Something their paradigm needs to change. Maybe they are religious. That could be it. It really could be it. That seems more like a religious paradigm than a spiritual one, but you never know. I'm thinking Christian, but there are a lot of other religions that have those belief systems. So the artist expressing dimensional life that is just beyond the five senses, inspiring others to see life symbolically. So there is two cards though about them wanting to help you grow in your spiritual practice. So that depends on if that is something you want. This is like what I'm seeing. There's two cards saying like that's what they really want to see more of in this relationship. So maybe it's meditation, maybe it's praying to God, maybe it's I think it's connecting with self as well. Sorry, it's just asking. I was like, no, I still get that. I do get a meditative vibe. So whether they're from an organized religion, I think they sort of have become open to some form of meditational practice. Because that's so strong with them. So this being said, I really feel like it's up to you to ask if this is what you're okay with, and just checking in again and again, because that's such a big theme for this pile, is just asking yourself, do I feel good about this? Is this okay with me? Are my needs being met? What needs can I meet for myself? Yeah, and just moving forward like that. Yeah, it is interesting. I feel like this pile, if you've chosen it, the chances are that you're probably, I want to say 35 or older. Don't feel like that has to be the truth, but just with the energy and it's like the beliefs that this person's coming from, you feel like it's a little bit of a older school mentality. So I'm almost feeling like this person's like 40-ish. And I obviously know 40 is not that old. I'm not trying to say that, but I just mean um like just in retrospect, like young people really don't have this belief system unless they are coming from like a certain culture where it's still largely enforced. But here in North America, usually um I guess I shouldn't say that. Religious organizations still believe that way, but I feel like it's a 70-year-old age group, the 70 plus, that had these strong paradigms, and then they raised their kids. So that's why I feel like it's like the 40-ish age or 50-ish age, because it's like they have less of that paradigm, but they were still so heavily immersed in it. But like I said, don't always need to get caught up in age, but for some people that like really resonates. So, okay, I think that's all I have to say. Their interests. Okay, yeah. So I'm just trying to go through. Did I answer all your questions? Okay, I think that is all I have for you. Yeah. So their intentions, I would also add in that their intentions, from what I can see, is there's no intention to end the relationship anytime soon. There isn't any intention of, I think from their side, I don't really see anything about being unhappy with you in any way. A lot of this stuff feels like, I feel like they're just too organized, if anything. Like, I feel like they're like, all right, okay, my goal is to kind of help them go into the more spiritual realm or more a stronger connection with God, universe, the divine. But then there is like with that, it does feel a little controlly, a little pushy. So you have to know if you want that. And then they are also committing on working through their shadow side in this relationship. But that being said, they don't always know what their shadow side is. So that's where I feel like there's such a big theme around you healing any block you have around not voicing what you need and working through that so you can voice what you need and what you are wanting more of or what doesn't make you feel good. And you can see why this relationship came through, right? Because for you, you're going to learn how to kind of stand up for yourself and speak up about what you need and really connect with yourself and what you're needing. Interesting, there's also another dragon there. Very interesting. And this person is really going to learn a lot about new paradigms and how to treat people and how to release control. And that I even feel like when I see the destroyer card, like it's so perfectly suited because it's almost like if they don't learn how to release this need for control or this need to have people, yeah, it does feel like control, do what they want, then it will destroy themselves. Like it will just like ruin their relationships. It won't give them the connection that they're wanting and they have done a lot of work for. So I feel like you're kind of like the first relationship maybe they've had since they've kind of woken up to this and like wanting to change. And I think you're a very good person for them to have come in contact with, which is why I just feel like there's such a message on you. Just stay in this relationship as long as it feels good for you in your body, in your soul, and you learn to communicate. All right, I've repeated myself a few times, but it's a pretty big thing. Okay, so as I did at the start, I am just going to play this crystal pyramid just to ground the energy, ground you again, and to just clear out anything that's going on that we might not like. So that's just my intention. Here we go. All right. So I hope you all have a wonderful day. I just want to say thank you to anyone who leaves a comment or a like. It so helps this video get more views. I'm not really sure how that works, but it just does. So thank you for doing that if you feel called to, and I just wish you the best of luck. Hello, Pile 2. So you all chose the Restoration and the Wayward Pass card. I'm going to start by just looking at the energy they're in right now before I look at the other cards. So we have Stag Spirit, Take the Lead, Chameleon Spirit, Act as If, and Koi Fish Spirit, There is Always Enough. Okay. And also, I just want to mention at the back of every card deck, so every animal card deck that I pulled for each pile, there was a swan card that came up for each one. And I thought that was kind of crazy. So I did actually just want to read what the swan card meant, and I took this as a message for you and not for them. So I'm going to start with that. So it says, don't talk yourself into diving deep into something just because you see the potential of things instead of what they really are now. The necessary work and patience involved may not be the best use of your energy. Have you seen the potential in someone and think that if you love and support them, they will become the person who knows you, love them beyond all others? Have you stepped into an opportunity that you know feels too good to be true and might not turn out the way you hope? Now is not a time for selective, limited perception that can lead to misjudgment. Instead, this is a time for going deep and being honest about what you find as you explore the depths. Have no fear, for whatever you find below will help you love and understand yourself and others and make better choices. Can you sense Swan Spirit calling you to dive deep and resurface to choose again? Yeah, so super interesting card, I thought. And the energy, I should say, that came through for pile 1 and pile 2 was completely different. And pile 3 had a similar swan energy to this pile. So I'll be interested to see what comes through in that one. So anyways, Wayward Paths. That's why I found really interesting when I saw that swan card. And then I saw Wayward Paths is how you're seeing the relationship and restoration. Because from that perspective, it really made me feel like you're feeling a little undecisive about whether or not this relationship or this love interest, because I actually don't know if you're fully on in a relationship. I wonder if you're kind of in maybe dating, maybe, I'm not sure. It feels like there's a lot of just like, I don't know what's going on, confusion energy. But then I see on your side, you're like, well, I can see it going really good in this relationship, being wonderful. But then I also can see you being like, well, there's also just like nothing going on over there. There's like a sinkhole where it's just going to take up my time and energy, and I'm going to come out of it wondering what the heck I just did. So there's kind of like this confusion energy here on being like, I feel like you still feel like you can see the potential here. Restoration. This is so interesting because I keep getting torn if this is kind of one of those relationships where you're like, I can't tell. Trying to ask, but I'm not really getting a clear answer. I feel like they're like, because it's such a pink card and red, I wonder if there's a like this is referring to you being like, I think they just need some like tender love and care and they'll come around, and they just need like a really divine feminine energy. Woo! Kitty cat's coming in. They just need a divine feminine energy to feel safe, and then they'll open up. Or there's also kind of this energy of like restoration. Like, I don't know, I feel like it's still catered more towards them, like being able to support them and help them and love them to be better. But also I feel like you're like, there's still like hope for this relationship to come back to like a more loving place than it's at. It's kind of how I'm seeing it. It's very interesting. And then you know what I am finding also very interesting is their energy right now is also extremely hard to read. Chameleon spirit act as if. This is so interesting because I get this like, I mean, anytime you see chameleon, I feel like I get the energy of them portraying and being adaptable to any situation. So maybe if they're hanging out with friends, there's a certain personality then. If they're hanging out with you, there's a certain personality there. It's so interesting. I almost feel like this person doesn't really know who they are, and they actually might be kind of a very extreme people pleaser to some extent. Like they really want to be liked by everyone. So I almost feel like that's what it is they want to be accepted. But I actually wonder if they know who they are and who they really are and what they really want. Yeah, the koi fish. The koi fish is speaking to me too. The stag I keep seeing is putting on a persona. Like trying to look your best, showing off this big rack, wanting everyone to pay attention to that and looking nice on the outside, which is very interesting. Which definitely goes with this chameleon card with the koi fish. I keep getting drawn to there's always enough because it almost makes me wonder if there's a fear for them that there's like a scarcity mentality, that there isn't enough, that you gotta fight for something, you've gotta like make your way in the world and like do what it takes to get there. Hang on, let's see here. Yeah, look at that. So the message behind this card. Sorry, I'm just looking at the guidebook because I was like, you know what, I gotta look. I feel like I wanna make sure that my bias isn't coming into this, and so I was like, I'll look at this card guidebook just to see what's going on. So it says, are you feeling a sense of scarcity, afraid you will not have enough and not be enough to meet the challenges you face, whatever your outer conditions? Sorry, I'd never mentioned this at the start, but like I woke up at 4:30 in the morning and I've been meaning to do a card reading for YouTube and I couldn't fall back asleep after about 45 minutes. So I was like, okay, you know what? I'll just get up. I've heard other people doing this weird ass shit all the time where they just like get up or they stay awake until like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. doing YouTube videos. So my cats are very confused about it and are acting a little bit psycho. So you hear some weird noises. They're just very confused about the weird morning time it is. Anyways, so this requires temporary reflecting what was set forth in the past. Okay, there's definitely a belief in suffering and loss and being afraid. That's interesting. So definitely, I hate to say it, but I'm definitely getting a vibe that this person is not being a very authentic version of themselves, and a lot of it comes from not really knowing who they are. And there's definitely this strong theme of like having to put on an act to be more impressive than who they are. So I feel like the stag spirit, they aren't this at all. They aren't this at all. This is their insecurity and their fear presenting a certain way. So I imagine this person probably looks really good. Imagine they always do their hair. Imagine they care a lot about what clothes they're wearing. And yeah, I really think the big red flag for this pile will be the fact that they're different personalities in different groups, and that is completely coming from an insecurity in who they are and feeling like they haven't been enough in past situations. And I almost get the impression that maybe they were like bullied when they were younger. And also, I'll see in the other cards, but when I was talking about, I feel like there's been narcissistic energy. I feel like this pile, not you, this person you're inquiring about might be that person with a bit of a narcissistic personality type. Doesn't mean they're a full-on narcissist, but even what I'm seeing and how they are, I feel like they're what is that called? I know the word, I'm just forgetting it. It's like there's like the narcissist that plays the victim all the time. But I think they only do it with you. And when I saw the restoration card, I kept thinking of that. And I was like, I'm being maybe a little too biased of this energy. But that being said, the more energy work you do, and I know this might be hard for this pile because I know you're in it, you start to see energy frequencies, like different vibrations. Like they always say, tune into a frequency or tune into something. It really makes sense to me because I see like all these different, like, for lack of better words, frequencies going on. And like this frequency is very familiar. I've seen it, I've experienced it in my own dating life in the past. And now I don't know how I never saw it, but it was just like I didn't know that frequency before. So it just like got categorized as normal, just like how their energy was. So I don't know. I'm definitely seeing some of that coming through for this energy I'm seeing. And I'm definitely seeing your energy as kind of the energy I was in back in the day in these relationships where um, usually quite loyal people, very kind, can be easily manipulated, for lack of better words. Not that there's anything wrong with you, but these people are master manipulators, and you're usually very tender-hearted people. And I mean, even this card being so pink, I'm just going like, you're so connected to the heart and wanting to be generous and compassionate and loving, that unfortunately it's very susceptible to very manipulative personality types who are like, they look really good on the outside. I keep seeing that they look really good on the outside, but there's such a strong insecurity and shame of self that I think lashes out, and then always changing what they are and who they are, which it seems very unhealthy. And then this just confirming it with scarcity mindset, lack, there's not enough, which eventually comes into maybe like needing to control or be in control of their environment. Okay, that seems to be theme today, control issues. Okay, so karma cards. Oh, you only got 3. Sorry, everyone else got like 4 or 5, so I don't know what happened there. So anyways, oh, so funny. Sorry. It's not funny. It's funny, I guess I say that because I'm like, oh shit, and saying kind of what I was worried about. So anxiety about trouble. We have power struggle. So this is definitely what I was talking about with like this person kind of needing to control to feel safe, but doing it in a very manipulative tactic. Communication. Oof, huge karmic lesson in communication. And I also find it interesting, it says what you believe, and the quickest way out, get the heart of do or die, you must. Now is not the time to reconsider. So sorry, let me just share what's going on in my head. So from my personal experience, with this type of person with a narcissistic, it kind of, like I said, they go into a victim-like mentality. And I almost see this as like, if you're trying to calmly resolve or clarify a situation, and you are doing that, I see like the quickest way out. So they're always going to take the fastest way out of it. So the fact that it says specifically a block around communication just makes me think about all the times where I was dating this person, and when I would approach it very calmly, really well thought out, overly thought out because of how other situations had gone, they would just like take a sentence from the end of my thing I said and something I said towards the middle and flip the order. And I was like, wow, when you say it in that order, it sounds horrible. But I clarified, like, yes. So technically, we would have to say, yes, I did say that. But the order was taken out of was just insanity. So it actually, the whole relationship made me feel like I was crazy. Which is something you hear a lot. If you start to feel like you're absolutely insane and you cannot figure out left from right, and you're like, we were talking about this one subject and now you're crying about something totally different that has no connection. It's just a red flag. But I see that. And the do or die is kind of like the extreme energy I feel like with these people, where it's like, do something I don't like and I'll make you regret it. And then it's also connected with the power struggle. So definitely, this is where I was saying huge control issues, and super emotionally unstable. super emotionally unstable. I gotta say that twice. And then this is saying remember, reconsider, trouble, anxiety about. Um, this is also, to me, I also find it interesting that this serpent is like wrapping around the planet as tightly as possible and biting their own tail. Like, I just feel like there's such a control thing, such a karmic lesson around um, control and being controlled. So this is also where it might be interesting for you to look into codependent attachments or insecure relationship attachments, because there's definitely some of that going on, I think, for this pile here to be drawn into this. And I'm telling you, I had the same issue. I'm not judging. I'm just trying to, if anything, share some resources that helped. And also, looking and listening to podcasts about narcissistic relationships, and you really want to look for the one, I can't remember what it's called. It's like, I feel like it's called, it sounds like an omnivore or something. I can't stop thinking omnivore. It's not that though. Narcissist, but it's one that always plays the victim. And to me, that one is so much worse because you don't know they're narcissistic until someone shows you what a narcissistic person does, because they're not boasting about how great they are, they're doing the opposite. So why would you ever think them narcissistic, right? It just doesn't make sense. So anyways, I see on your side of this there being a lot of anxiety there. It's funny also, I didn't see obsessing over and power struggles. So there's just like, I feel like for you it will be a lot of circulating thoughts, a lot of, oh my gosh, what did I do wrong? What can I do in the future? Like kind of thinking 6 different possibilities. Like that's not normal. You shouldn't have to do that. Yeah, and communication blocks. I just feel like you won't, despite how many times you go into the conversation, you won't end up being able to communicate what you're wanting to. Okay, so healing mantras for the karmic dynamic. We have opening my mind and dispelling sadness. So I allow myself to see beyond my beliefs and ideas. So this is really interesting. That's kind of the Swan card referred to as like seeing the whole situation and not just the good side of things, not just the pretty things in people and in this relationship. And then I will feel better once I get the rest I need. So this is really interesting that came up. I almost feel like there's like a suggestion there, like you really just maybe need to sleep more and sleep on things more, and then you'll just get the clarity. Because if you go to discuss things with this person, I think it just becomes more confusing and you're like, what, how, what? It's my perception of this. So anyways, let's do, last but not least, the cards to explain their intention towards the relationship and their intention towards you. So we got 3 cards in reverse and 1 up. So rescuer, it says, assumes that the rescued will reciprocate, keeps the rescued one needy. Okay. Whew. I hope you're hearing me, pile 2. I hope you're hearing me. So it says, assumes that the rescued will reciprocate and keeps the rescued one needy. So this is kind of making me think of how there would be like a love bombing thing and then like a takeaway. So if you ever heard of trauma bonding, that's like almost where they will just love bomb you a ton, and then they slowly take little pieces away so you feel like you're doing something wrong, and then you want to please them more, and then they'll kind of give you some back, but it will never usually be as nice as it was at the start, which is very confusing. And they've also kind of undermined you in small ways leading up to that, so it makes you feel like you need them. Maybe saying things like, if your family is very abusive, maybe they say, you know what, your family's very nice, I don't know what you're talking about, or your family is perfectly normal and loving, or like things like that. And it's kind of like that alone is kind of like abusive if they know how you feel about your family and that they might have said things about you. So it's almost like it's just a messy, gross situation. Okay, so this is the one card that came up in the light attribute. So it says represents the nature of the divine in life and in yourself. Wow, that's confusing. Represents the nature of the divine in life and in yourself. Okay, I'm not totally sure what that one's talking about. Here we go. Depleting others from your physical, or sorry, vampire, shadow attributes, depleting others for your psychic survival, chronic complaining, and codependency. So, very interesting. So, this is where I get playing the victim energy. Guys, I didn't choose these cards myself, okay? Okay, sorry. My camera battery died. Okay, so I was just clarifying that I don't just decide to hand select cards and choose what I want to do. I just pull them and see what comes through. So I feel like I really have to say that for some of you who are like, man, you must have just like picked these. How else do you get cards that are so aligned? I just don't have the time for that, and I don't really care to. Okay, so yeah, vampire. You've heard of energy vampires. They kind of just take a lot of your energy, and I usually see that as like the scarcity mentality are the people who do that. People who feel like there isn't enough for themselves, that they can't get enough on their own. They need to take from others. So very appropriate for the same kind of energy. Dilettante. So it says pretension to much deeper knowledge than you actually possess. Yeah, so that also kind of goes with like the chameleon and the stake card where it's saying like pretend to know a lot of things, to impress, to feel like they're a master at many things, but they actually don't know nearly as much as they convey. And then I feel like that's when if they get caught in it, that they can sort of have a weird tantrum or emotional thing go on to take away attention or distract from what they almost got caught in, for lack of better words. So the thing I do find interesting though is the one attribute is that they wanting to build to help build a spiritual and self-connection thing. That is so interesting. Represents the nature of the divine in life and in yourself. I gotta be honest, I don't understand that one. So maybe that even comes from like the love bombing thing where it's like when they are good, they are trying to show you all the good things about yourself. But I do get overall like there's just like this need to like, especially with this rescuer card in the shadow, there's like this need to keep you feeling small enough so you stay with them because their confidence level is actually shit. It's just shit. It's so low. And if you get feeling too good about yourself, then you might realize that you are worth more than what they're giving you. So it's crazy. You're so right if you're thinking, well, why are they doing that? If they were just themselves and they just treated me good, then I would love them and I would feel good and the whole relationship would be fine. That's the frustrating part is these people don't realize that there's this deep-rooted belief that they are not enough, that people will not accept them, and they have a ton of shame and guilt that they just like suppress and they kind of just become the center of their own worlds because they're just stuck in a very much a them and I mentality. So I so get that frustration, but this is what I'm seeing. So that all being said, let's play this pyramid and clear the energy. And I want you to set the intention that, you know, whatever you're feeling, that if it's not feeling great, if it's not in your highest good, just send it to this. And I should also say a big lesson with these types of relationships is learning despite everything you feel comfortable with to stand up for yourself and know you deserve better. These relationships are the hardest ones to get out of. And often people will wait for them to feel the easiest to get out of, but they don't ever feel easy. They're always hard. So don't wait until you feel like it will be easy. All right. I hope you all have a wonderful day. I'm wishing you the best of luck with this situation, and I just want to thank anyone who leaves likes or comments on this channel. It really helps that video get more views, and I just really appreciate that. So thank you for taking the time if you feel called to. Hello, pile 3. So you all chose North, South, East, West, and Divine Feminine. This is Charlie here, joining you for a brief time. Okay, and we're gonna just start by looking at the animal deck. So you chose Golden Egg, Beaver, and Peacock. Interesting. Lots of yellow in these cards. Can't help but notice that. And then just on an interesting note, I wanted to mention that for each card deck pile, at the back of the deck was a swan card for every animal card. So that was crazy. So I'm just going to start by reading what it means when it comes through from this guidebook. And it says, when the swan card appears, your soul is calling for attention. For solo time, an inner voice is waiting to be heard, an inner vision likely to be revealed. When in balance, in a state of infinite creative power, when out of balance, agitated, snippy, lacking vision, to bring into balance solo time and writing. So it's really interesting. This card talks all about being effortlessly creative, sensitive, mystic, elegant power. So I feel like this is advice for you. Maybe that's why I came up at the back, because I didn't feel like it was attached to this person's energy. So I just wanted to put that out there for you. So why don't I start with what I kind of got for how you perceive them. So Divine Feminine card, I feel like when I saw this, I got the energy that you saw them as very beautiful and centered in themselves, confident. Funny that I see this person kind of being a little bit of alone in the woods with people watching and admiring them in a distance. So I feel like this is a person who maybe is very gifted at things but like to keep it to themselves. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of energy I got from this card. And then North, South, East, West is a card that means about someone not knowing their direction. And I wonder if this coming up in this relationship is almost like you're not knowing where you stand with them, not knowing which direction this relationship's gonna go, and not really understanding how it will all end. So that's kind of what I got off these cards when I drew them. But yeah, it's so funny. Do you get the impression though that there is just like an attraction and a belief that they're quite beautiful? So then over here, the Golden Egg, Peacock, and Beaver. This is the energy this person's in right now that you're inquiring about. Also, if you hear any sounds, I was just explaining to the last pile, I couldn't sleep at like 4 in the morning, so I just decided to give it up and I'd start recording a card pile. But now it's getting close to the time that my boyfriend goes to work, so if you hear flushing and showering, that's just him. Yeah, okay. Anyways, sorry about any extra noise going on. So what I'm seeing here for the Golden Egg, Peacock, and Beaver, energy-wise, is I'm really seeing sort of a calmness and a contentment and a gratitude energy that this person's in. So Golden Egg talks all about learning to hear our inner voice, hear and be connected with our heart chakra, and be more connected to gratitude. So that's really interesting that that's coming up. Peacock is all about being confident in yourself and not holding grudges, not holding on to conflict, really being at peace. So it all talks about inner peace and inner beauty coming through on the outside. And then Beaver talks about being happy in workplace, being happy in building something new. So it's really interesting. So because this is coming up in a relationship perspective, I wonder if they're just saying this person feels like they would seem like steady and simple on the outside, but actually they've done a lot of personal work to become so peaceful within, to be so um, unbitter, very grateful, just very content with the way life is taking them and where they've been led to. So it's interesting. You can see how maybe this person, so you looking at it, would be a little confused on the direction this is all going, because um, it is interesting. They do have kind of an introvert energy still. I still see that. Like, they're just, a lot goes on within them, and not a lot of the outer world sees it. So I even wonder if maybe there's been confusion on their emotional commitment or emotional depth back towards you, because they're just so calm and peaceful and not dramatic. And yeah, but everything I see though is, I feel like they're like looking for someone to build, for a lack of a better word, a nest with. Like when I see the beaver, I see really strong energy of wanting to work towards building family. And then when I see the golden egg, I definitely feel like they've done a lot of self work so that they can be a better parent in the future, can be a better, um, I want to say partner, but it feels like I feel like this person strongly does want children someday, at some point, because everything I see here feels like they want to do better for the future generations, for the kids in their life. So that all being said, maybe we should look at the karmic blocks that will come through in this relationship. So here we have do what you want to and taking a chance, resulting from the impressiveness of, okay, action, force yourself to, so funny. So I've kind of, how I've been seeing these is like the top is like one person's energy and the bottom is another. So I kind of been seeing the bottom energy as your energy and then the top energy as their energy in this dynamic. Okay, so want to be shared, long range thinking or travel, spiritual values, cooperation to perfect, decision about resulting from the fairness shown by, the drive for the confronting of, leadership, the creativeness of, do what you want to, taking a chance, comfort. So anyways, what I'm seeing here, there's some kind of like a bit of a block coming up in each other's mannerisms, I think. And I think it's more on the inquirer's part on this person's mannerisms. So for lack of better words, I think you're just used to more dramatic people. Yeah, like it's so funny. Like it's almost like, here the Spanish culture is known for being very emotional and hot tempered. So they'll like say everything they're gonna say and mean. But then they'll like forgive each other later. So I kind of get like that energy. Like you're used to that. And this person is the opposite of that. They're very calm. They're truly very calm on the inside. It is not a disguise. It is not a ruse. They really do just feel that collected and calm inwardly, and they're very easygoing. So if you do something that maybe previously people would have like been irked by or angered by, this person has a very different reaction. And I feel like the block there is like, oh, do they even care? Like it's just like, yeah, to you it might even seem like a numbness sometimes that comes from them, but it's just truly an inner peace. They're very collected, they're very mature. So interesting. So what's coming up for them to work on in this dynamic? Yeah, so a big thing for them that I'm seeing is letting people in more into their inner worlds. And I get that they don't like to think too far ahead, which is interesting because when I see the energy they're in right now, I feel like they're doing a lot of work to be ready for something, but it just keeps saying, you know what I think it is? It's almost like there's a bit of a thing where they're like, well, spirit will guide me, or my, like, their whatever they believe in will kind of guide them in the direction they should go, but they almost could use a little more foresight or foreplanning, and not always just waiting for something to fall into their lap or to land right under their nose. And I think you're the opposite, uh, from what I can see. Because there's also a thing around taking action immediately that's coming up too for them. And interesting also a leadership thing, which is so interesting because I think that's where the yellow is coming from, is that they're very confident, but they like to stay pretty like private, or to themselves. So I feel like something about your relationship dynamic is going to teach them how to step up and be more of a assertive position, more in a leadership position, taking action position. So that is really interesting. Making decisions quickly. So maybe they normally like to take their time and meditate on it or something, but there's definitely like having to learn to move quicker lesson going on. And then for you, it's interesting. It says confront, do things in a big way, the philosophy and laws involved, the beauty of do it with your partner. Interesting. So your thing is learning to spend more time and making more decisions with your partner. There's interesting. It says not fearing confrontation, or clearing up. Like, I almost wonder, like the scenario they're showing me is in the past. Like if you wanted more attention from this person, you would do something that normally would have got you a lot of like a dramatic response from other past partners, and you're not getting it from them. So there's almost like this like lesson of taking a chance and just being open about what you're wanting from them, or being vulnerable and saying how you feel, or asking how they're feeling and where they're at. Something around that. That's what I keep getting. It's interesting. This energy is a little confusing to read in the block. Someone's like, you're blocking the block. Someone here is blocking the block. Like they don't even want to see the block. So that's really, really interesting. And lots of yellow again. So it's definitely like confidence based, value based, self perceived value, leadership, independence. Sometimes you can see coming out with the solar plexus, like believing on how much you should be able to handle yourself or keep to yourself can come through. So let's look at the affirmations or the healing mantra for the karmic block. So we have overcoming fear and untangling neglect. So I will transcend every loss, and I take the time to give myself all the approval I desire. That's really interesting. Untangling neglect. I take the time to give myself all the approval I desire. It will transcend every loss. So this is really important because I quite get that this person is doing fine within the inner selves. But so I see for the healing mantras, they're more for your side of the karmic blocks. So I would really just maybe reflect on what that means. And hopefully that makes more sense to you, because I feel like there's some information I'm missing in this card reading to understand what exactly is going on here. But I'll just trust that it makes sense to you. So last but not least, we have the archetype cards for their intention towards you and their intention towards the relationship, I think it was. So we have Samaritan, which says refines your capacity to help those you would prefer to ignore. In reverse came up the Goddess card, which says exploitation of the female nature and form. That's really interesting. And Bully in the light attribute says highlights your tendency to intimidate others, helps you confront the inner fears that bully you. Wow. So I got to be honest, this person's energy is so different from what I'm understanding. I feel like this is really weird to me. Like I feel like I'm literally being locked out of some energy or something going on, that I'm just like not connecting to. So Also, all these cards sound like there's a bit of a hint of negativity to them, which is really interesting. So the Samaritan refines your capacity to help those you would prefer to ignore. So I see this coming through in the sense that they, like I said, have strong loner vibes or like wanting to keep to themselves. And here it's saying like they choose to give you the time and energy to go out of their way to give you time. So that's really interesting. So as far as they go, I think that is as much commitment as you can kind of see from them. The goddess card in reverse, exploitation of the female nature and form, really is interesting because it almost tells me like that they might use their outer looks to get what they want from people or get what they want from you or um, convince you to make a certain decision. So that's really interesting. And I also can't help but wonder if that's just like an old thing that, like an old paradigm, an old thing, an old way of being taught to do things that they're still hanging on to. It's still coming up in the relationship. And then the highlights your tendency to intimidate others, helps you confront the inner fears that bully you. This is really interesting as well. Because this feels more like like I guess the energy here is like it feels like they're struggling with a lot of things within themselves. And this energy feels more like struggles for them versus struggle for the relationship and towards you. Like, I think they struggle to be around people and to be vulnerable and let people in. Because, like I said, they're very like kept to themselves, very quiet. And it's interesting because here it says, I kind of feel like there's this block around people perceiving them to be put together, like really good at something, really gifted, maybe really beautiful, very desirable, but on the inside they're still battling with some stuff there still. So that's really interesting because here it's talking about self-mastery and feeling good on the inside and beauty being in and out and wanting to work towards things. But I guess it's going to show I think they're still struggling mentally with some blocks. And it could be some outdated blocks towards what they believe they deserve in relationships, some outdated beliefs about how perfect they're supposed to be, how they're supposed to be able to handle themselves. There's definitely, like I said, this feels like it's definitely coming from them. And I guess you're feeling like that if you chose a card that's like, I don't know which direction they're going in. And I think maybe that's even why the Swan card came out for you, because I think it was talking about taking some time alone and just asking yourself how you felt about this. And I wonder if in this dynamic, this is like someone who, for lack of better words, maybe you date a few times and then they'll ghost you for a bit and then they'll like message you again and you'll hang out again for a bit and then they'll ghost you again. And it's kind of confusing because they seem very kind and beautiful and wonderful. But I think they just mentally are struggling with some stuff. And their karmic issue was, I think, taking action, making a choice, doing things. So it's almost like they're just like snails about deciding, like, do I like this person? Should I commit to them? Should, like, it's just, yeah, it's very interesting. So I feel like the overall message for this pile is to just like ask yourself if this person is a person you want in your life. Is this someone you're okay with the way they're treating you? Are you okay with how they're doing it? And it's interesting now that I look at this again and it says that your karmic lesson is confrontation and learning how to kind of not create a conflict, but like literally address a conflict that you're having with them. And if they don't answer, then that will probably be your answer. And I wonder if that's why it says I will transcend every loss. So it's like, just know that like if this doesn't work out, you're gonna like do better. You're gonna upgrade and find someone who's more emotionally ready to commit, who isn't so wishy-washy, who isn't so confusing on their level of commitment. Yeah. I wonder if that's even where it's like their long range thinking is just kind of not there about like if they're treating you this way, how do they think that will affect the relationship and how that will affect everything. and not making a decision. Okay, this makes more sense to me now about the whole decision energy being uncertain and them not wanting to make decisions and avoiding decisions and not liking to take action or confrontation, or be in a leadership position or decide what to do or explain what they want. So, yeah, I really just gonna leave this in your hands here because it's ultimately so up to you. And like the card said, it's up to you to like take time and ask yourself, despite how beautiful this person is, and maybe even despite how maybe great the sex is with them or the sexual attraction, are they worth your time? Maybe you deserve a little bit better than what they're willing to commit to or offer you. And as it says, like, you will find something better after this. This isn't your only chance. There's many more to come. So I've been ending these with the crystal pyramid. So I just like to clear the energy before everyone goes and just ground you all back, just to try to help with leaving feeling lighter and better and not feeling icky and gross. So that's my intention. All right. I hope you all have a wonderful day. I just want to thank anyone who leaves a comment or a like. It really helps the video get more views, and I so appreciate that, and for you taking the time. And just best of luck with this situation. I know love lives can be really frustrating, and I wish they could be easier for everyone as well, but they're so lesson growing and lesson learning. So I guess there's that. Okay, have a good one, and maybe I'll catch you around.